We're back again. It's Casting Call. It's the MCU X-Men, but this time we're going to be talking about the Brotherhood. I'm Matt. This is Michael. Let's do this. What up, folks? Today is part 2 of our casting call for the MCU X-Men universe. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Michael, what are we doing today?
Well, as you mentioned, it's part 2 for the MCU X-Men. How many more times can we say that? Are you guys aware? So naturally, last time we talked about the OG X-Men. This week, we're going to talk about the Brotherhood of Mutants.
OG.
Yes, aka Magneto's Brotherhood of Mutants. Yep. Not Mystique's Brotherhood of Mutants, but Magneto's, which happens to have Mystique. Yeah. So I just want to set us up because we decided, given the fact that we're not both 100% familiar with the original Brotherhood, so we're going to we made our own Brotherhood based on all the entire era of X-Men comics. So we're going to preface them now.
Well, we're going to try and find symmetry, aren't we, with our picks from Part 1.
Yeah. So we're going to have Magneto. We're going to also include Mystique, Pyro, Juggernaut, and Toad. Those are our 5 with an honorable mention that we'll get to when we get to him.
Okay, and I just want to quickly recap from anybody who missed the first episode. If you did miss the first episode, go watch it. We've got Professor X, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Beast, and our honorable mention was Wolverine. So we're going to mirror those characters.
Cool.
I'll let you go first.
Are we going to start with the big guy first? Or, because we did the X-Men, we started with Iceman. We started from the ground up.
What? Start with our honourable mention first?
No. Obviously, the honourable mention will come.
Start with the boss. The boss man.
Well, we didn't start with the boss for the X-Men.
Yeah, let's start with the boss man.
I think starting from
so Michael Fassbender.
Yeah. to do a little mirror image of part 1. Yeah. I actually, I would love to have had Michael Fassbender. He played the role fantastically. But
he was actually one of the only ones throughout the entire second generation of X-Men movies that was credible in all of them.
Yeah, he worked. We both know. No, I guess we don't both know. I know that I think
yes
that the James McAvoy Charles Xavier was okay until he was in the wheelchair.
Young.
And at that point, he didn't fit the mold, unfortunately. But Fassbender did. He really felt like Magneto, especially the more middle-aged, ripped, charming, vigorous Magneto. Ian McKellen's Magneto is a little older than we see him in the comic books, but he played his character perfectly. But you were never going to see Ian McKellen with broad chest and all that.
Well, so Fassbender always did so well with the emotional scenes for Magneto, and even though he's a dick and he's generally the bad guy throughout the series, you actually, is it empathize with him over what he's been through, and
you sympathise.
You sympathise with him.
You have empathy for things that you've not experienced yourself.
Yeah.
You're just naturally able to feel. You sympathise with things that you've experienced yourself.
Yeah. Well, I haven't experienced the Holocaust, so I must.
Well, no, but you've experienced
loss,
wartime loss.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, we know Fassbender did a great job on. If Marvel were to announce that they were casting him in it, that's the only one from the previous lot that I wouldn't actually mind.
It wouldn't bother me, but it'd be a bit jarring, a bit interesting. But if we're going to start fresh...
Multiverse of Madness, you can do whatever
If we're going to start fresh, we're going to go the same sort of route. Yeah. I'm going to find someone who is not quite as old as Ian McKellen was when he first started in the role, but someone who is more around that autumn years, late middle age, and also has the physique and also the stature, and I'm going with, as any Game of Thrones fans out there might recognise the name, Nikolai Coster-Waldau.
Jaime Lannister.
Jaime fucking Lannister.
So, I could definitely see it from the acting chops side of you, because I've seen him in other things apart from Game of Thrones, and he's a pretty good actor. Visually, you could do whatever you want. Visuals.
I'm taking Game of Thrones, Jaime Lannister season 1 and 2 for his visually because of the hair.
Yeah,
that's the one thing McKellen and Fassbender never had. They never had the flowing hair.
Yeah, and because he's generally he's got long flowing grey hair, so going from blonde to grey,
kind of like jaw length.
I like that.
I don't have much to say other than that, to be honest, on him. I feel like he can bring the... Well, I don't want to call him a rookie, but he's not really played a major role in a movie like this. I would really like to see him bring that to the plate, the unknown. Start with the mold, and then just bring the unknown quality to that character.
My only thing against it is, especially with the Jaime Lannister character in mind, is he always, to me in his mind, and Nicholas is a fucking good-looking guy. Nikolai is a good-looking guy.
Mm-hmm.
I always see Magneto, especially from the comics, as a more gruff, burly.
He's good-looking.
He's good-looking, but he's not like... What's the word?
He's a comic book character. Most comic book characters are good-looking.
He's Nikolai is I don't want to say effeminate because that's wrong. He's got the pretty boy look. Whereas I don't see Magneto as a pretty boy look. To me, Magneto's gone through so much hardship throughout his life.
Well, pretty boys can't go through hardships?
Yeah, but just think about all that stress, what it does to people. Look at the president when he comes in and then 8 years later when he leaves. The stress of that just ages you. And I'm not saying he needs to be old, but he needs to be...
What, you're saying that he's a 2-term leader of the Brotherhood?
Yeah, he needs to be war-torn, battle-scarred, kind of. And I see Nikolai as being a bit too...
Okay, well, give me yours then.
So, this was a hard one for me. I went through fucking so many iterations. And again, with that mindset of this gruff, good-looking guy, I went through Gerard Butler, I went through Carl Urban, but I settled on... We laugh at that.
Just Gerard Butler can't do accents. Yeah. He'd just be Scottish Magneto.
Hey, what's wrong with that? But Carl Urban can do accents. And Carl Urban, apart from the kind of swearing stuff from the boys, I saw Carl Urban's Butcher as being a good Magneto.
Who's your pick, though?
But I settled on Daniel Craig. Again, the long
he
blonde
can't do accents, though, either.
But again, he doesn't need to do accent.
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah. But
Ian McKellen's English.
No, see, Ian McKellen's Magneto is supposed to be doing an American accent, though.
He isn't, though.
Charles. Yeah, he is. He's doing an American accent.
He'd have been better just being Gandalf Magneto.
Yeah, it's the thing is when Ian McKellen, when he yells, his accent comes out. It's like, you should have killed me when you had the chance, Charles.
So I think Daniel Craig is good enough actor, same as Nikolai is, but I think he brings that more... Especially
he's got the body for it.
Yeah, if you look at the which Bond was it in where he takes time off because he gets shot off the thing? Was that Skyfall? He gets Moneypenny shoots him and he fucking falls off the train. That's beginning of Skyfall. No, it's beginning of Skyfall.
Oh yeah, because he doesn't know Moneypenny yet. As Moneypenny.
So
he sees her at the
when
end,
he comes back and he's been boozing, he's been just doesn't want to be a secret agent. The look of him there when he's trying to recover. And he's doing his shooting to try and pass his shooting test and all his mental tests. That image there to me was how a middle-aged, war-torn, stressed out, lived a harsh life Magneto would look. And like you say, you could definitely get into the shape.
You could do that to anyone though. That's like not an inherent trait of an actor.
No, but then again, there's like Brad Pitt is a beautiful-looking guy. You can't get him to play a rough and rugged looking person unless you put prosthetics on him. Now there are rugged looking people who are good looking, but then there are good looking guys who are very beautiful looking.
I just think we were concentrating far too much on looks for our picks. Because to me, when it came to Nikolai Coster-Waldau, I was more just interested with the fact that I really like his acting ability. Mm-hmm. I don't see him as typecast for anything. I'd love to just see the blank canvas of that actor try to work with something like a superhero villain.
I think when we were casting Mass Effect, because no one's ever seen them in human form or it's on a computer, it's like comic...
No one's seen them in real life. Human form. Yeah. Assuming direct control.
Well, comic books are written and the characters are drawn a certain way. So that their look...
caricatures.
Yeah, their look has already been set. So when it comes to casting comic book guys, yeah, I do, because I'm a comic book fan, go on look quite a lot. But I'm also trying to pick a good actor. Like, a perfect example of the characters not having to look like the comic book characters was the first X-Men franchise.
I think you need to be careful, though, in what you qualify as a good actor, too, because good actors you're basing it on your history and what they've been in. But like, you can look at someone like tell me, do you think the actor Rachel Weisz is a good actor? She's a good actor. However,
she's not phenomenal, but
cast her in a movie like The Mummy, right? In The Mummy, she's brilliant. In The Mummy Returns, she's incredibly disinterested and bland. So you've got to remember that if you could, like with Cara Delevingne, for instance, you're just going on about how god-awful she is, but unfortunately she's just been in nothing but bad movies.
Yeah.
If you actually give her the right role, she might very well surprise you. So that's why I'm saying I'm picking Nikolai Coster-Waldau as a way to say that so I don't like Game of Thrones, the TV series. I liked it in the beginning, but
he's a book wanker.
It falls off the page, literally. But I do think that Nikolai Coster-Waldau, given the chance to play a Marvel villain, could very easily step into that and make it something interesting.
And I agree with you. I just don't think Magneto would be the villain to play, but there are villains out there that I could see him playing. Well, like to me,
give me more reasons as to why.
I could see Nikolai Coster-Waldau playing Adam Warlock, hands down, easily.
Give me another reason, real quick, to summarize with Magneto why Daniel Craig works for you. We've heard from me.
Yeah,
let's wrap this up and move on to the next one.
There's very few things that I've seen him in where he doesn't do a good job. The first film I saw him in was Layer Cake, and that's absolutely phenomenal. And that was right early on in his career as a movie actor. The first thing I saw him in as a TV actor was I was going to say Days of Our Lives.
See, first thing I saw him was Tomb Raider, and I watched that with you at the theatre.
Yeah, that's... Although, saying that, was it the bad guy in that? Ian Glenn?
Ian Glenn, another Game of Thrones actor.
He's awesome in it, but the rest of the movies...
And to be honest, Ian Glenn would be a pretty good Magneto.
A bit too old now, I think.
He's around the same as if we were going with the Ian McKellen approach, then you would go with Ian Glenn.
But I think that,
actually, damn.
Yeah.
Talk of honourable mentions. I'm going to just go on the record right now and say that I actually probably would also not be that bothered if Ian Glenn was cast as Magneto.
As something. That movie that you just mentioned is going to pop up in one of my up and coming videos for Great Moments Part 2.
Okay.
Because the robot scene at the beginning is brilliant. But yeah, so Daniel Craig, first thing I saw him in was a British TV series called Our Friends Up North. And it was about a group of friends, and it followed them throughout their lifetimes. And each episode, it kind of skipped as they got older and older, and you saw where they were. And he was phenomenal. He was absolutely phenomenal in that as a.
My notes keep closing. Sorry.
Yeah, as the drunk bum friend.
Drunk bum friend.
Drunk bum friend. And then I saw him in Layer Cake. Then, there was Tomb Raider, but then he's obviously excelled as Bond, because even in the crappiest Bond films...
You know what else I've seen him in?
What?
As a very bit role? The Elizabeth film with Cate Blanchett.
Oh, is he in that?
He plays like the sort of like reverend assassin who's sent to kill Walsingham.
Oh. He
gets caught immediately by Walsingham and tortured, but that's the entirety of his role.
He's also in the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, I believe.
I don't know.
Because I know there's two films that made up about the exact same story, and I keep getting them mixed up.
So your defense for Daniel Craig is because you've seen him in other films?
No, it's his acting ability. I think he's a better actor than Nikolai, and
I think they're both pretty much the same level when it comes to acting chops. I don't think either of them are amazing actors, but they're usually good, and when directed well, they come off as quite convincing actors.
I would. So
I think we're at a stalemate on this one.
I'm going to find some middle ground here. I'll go for Nikolai Coster-Waldau if Mark Strong was the Professor. Waldau was Professor X, because then you've got two actors of the same stature that have never really played a leading role in anything, and they're going to be our side characters of our X-Men and Brotherhood, if we're going with Cyclops and Jean being the main characters. But if I want a bit more star power to play against Stanley Tucci, I want Daniel Craig as Magneto.
All right.
And that's the way I do it. If it was Stanley Tucci that you picked and he was Professor X, Daniel Craig would be a better Magneto.
So, moving on, for Mystique, I have chosen... And see, I had lots and lots and lots and lots of actors who I could cast in this role. I settled on this actor because I think she is the appropriate level of fame right? She's not too much of a star. She's not really a star at all. Speaking of Daniel Craig James Bond movies, though, that's the first thing I saw her in, and I'm talking, of course, about Gemma Arterton.
From Quantum of Solace, Clash of the Titans.
She's also in.
Symphonians.
She's also in that really awful adaptation of the video game Prince of Persia.
Yes.
Yeah. She's in some really good independent films as well.
So, are we? If we're going with Jean and Cyclops being our main kind of like gist of the first film, are we going to put Mystique as the main antagonist, or are we going with Magneto?
Magneto is the main antagonist in this one. They made the mistake of putting far too much focus on the character of Mystique in the prequel films, but then they also made the mistake of relegating her to background henchmen in the original films. So for this one, I want her to be...
She's Magneto's, like, number one.
Yes, essentially. I want her in this film to be what she's supposed to be. She's cunning, she's manipulative, she's smart. She's also kind of like, between her and Magneto, the one who's probably more sympathetic. Someone, because she has changed sides from time to time. So I do feel like she'd be a good supporting role. But again, don't relegate her into the Rebecca Romijn status. As a matter of fact, X2, they managed to utilize her a little better in that film, but she has like 2 lines in the first film and gets killed by Wolverine, and in the third film she's like given the cure within the first half hour of the movie and then forgotten about. So
I forgot about the third film, so it doesn't matter.
So I want her to not necessarily be the forefront of this film series, or even just this one standalone film, but I also don't want her relegated. So I want her to be more of a kind of a foil for Magneto, possibly.
Okay. So I went through, again, like my Magneto, I went through a million iterations until I settled on Emily Blunt. Then I realised, no, I want Emily Blunt to be Sue Storm. So she can't be in it. So I'm giving a TV actress a chance, and I apologise for butchering your name, Maria Avgeropoulos, out of The 100. To me, she kind of carried that show when it was in the... what do you call it?
I can see it.
So The 100's a great series, but it's like any series. It has a lot of areas where it's a downtime, and kind of like not much is going on
where
with
it's
the plot.
a downtime. What do you mean by that?
So the show has its peaks and troughs. So in the trough, where the story's not that very good and it's on the downward, she always elevates the scenes that she was in. And a perfect example was I think it's halfway through season 2, her love interest gets killed, and she goes off the fucking rails. And then she kind of brings herself back, and then at the end of season 4. She's thrown in this, right, so I'm good spoilers here. She's thrown in a situation where the group of people has to hunker out down in a bunker under the ground, and they live in this bunker, I think, for 6 years. She basically becomes the leader of them under necessity, and holy shit, did she fuck things up. So to start off with, you've got like loads of different clans who are all having to hunker in this bunker, and she basically says, if you
rhymes.
Yeah, hunker in this bunker. If you're not with me, you're against me. So people go up to her and against her.
Oh, so she's Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, but they
does she deal in absolutes?
Kind of
shit.
Well, the thing is, we went an episode without mentioning Star Wars. Basically, the setup is all the clans are called something crew. Tree crew if you live in the trees. Friggin'. So she says if
Earthbender, Airbender.
If you're not with one crew,
who's the Avatar?
Yeah, so that you're all one person, you're all one crew. You're against it.
Like this isn't a synopsis of fucking.
But in that scene, she basically has to fight everybody to the death that disagrees with her, and she nails it. And again, she takes a low part in the story and elevates
a small part in the story.
Yeah, well, no, a low.
Oh, like a lull.
A lull, but she elevates it by what she's doing. And then
she lifts it.
And when they find out, when they rescue him 6 years in the future, and they find out what she's done, the way that she behaves and acts after what's happened to her, now she reconciles with what she had to do, is exceptional. She's very good at it. And she could definitely pull off the physical attributes of Mystique. And I know you're going to nod your head. I don't mean the way she looks. I mean the actual physical attributes of doing stunts and shit. Although she is absolutely stunning.
Well, but again, that's kind of more of a Rebecca Romijn Mystique thing.
Yeah.
The Mystique from the comics isn't much of a acrobatic.
Well, she doesn't need to because she could just pretend to be whoever she wants.
Yeah, she's what's it called? She's a deceitful spy, basically.
Yeah.
So next one is Pyro, and this is this is the first one that we decided to put in, just kind of the same reason they did in the original X-Men movies as a foil for Iceman.
Yeah, because we had Bobby.
And so for me, I'm going with Dacre Montgomery.
Who?
Dacre Montgomery.
Who?
Dacre Montgomery.
Who's that?
From Power Rangers. And
Billy.
Billy from Stranger
Billy
Things.
from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because it's pretty much the same approach to Pyro from the original movies, except less whiny asshole who doesn't feel like he's in the right place and wants to find himself, but more of just kind of the character of Billy from Stranger Things, but also kind of the character of Jason from Power Rangers. Just a rebel, just an asshole, someone who is just straight up a member of the Brotherhood, just because he likes to cause chaos. He doesn't really truly give a shit about the agenda.
Yeah,
he's just there just because it's the one place he can go and become a pyromaniac.
Well, yeah, they missed the first iteration of him. They didn't really capture his maniacalness, where he thrives on causing chaos because he's a pyromaniac.
Oddly enough, they did in the final film in The Last Stand.
But when he's first introduced,
his turn from being a student to becoming a member of the Brotherhood is just,
hey, do you want to come for a helicopter ride?
Sure, why not? It doesn't make much sense.
I'm now bad. Okay.
Just to clarify though, that these characters will already be pre-established in these roles. There's no origin story. We're going to go the Spider-Man Homecoming approach, and just origin stories are going to be little throwaway lines in the background.
All right, so. After,
as we know, that we WandaVision,
yeah,
what I was thinking about Scarlet Witch might end up proving to be quite true.
Yeah. So after we discussed this off air after the first episode, I realized I wanted somebody in the role that wasn't really right for the role, and I was just basically trying to shoehorn him into the X-Men universe. And there's probably a character for that because there's so many X-Men. So I've changed my Pyro.
Good.
And it was more on doing research, like to the point of where he is like maniacal and really doesn't even care for the points that the Brotherhood are doing. He just wants to cause chaos. So I've gone with Cillian Murphy. His portrayal as Scarecrow, to start off with, I didn't like, but when he gets doused with his own thing and he goes batshit crazy, that to me was then... that kind of role could be Pyro. He could do the maniacal part of it very well. He could definitely do the acting part of it well. The guy's a phenomenal actor. And give him an Irish accent, why not?
He can do accents, though.
Yeah. He definitely can, but he's strong.
I have no problem with that choice. I do think he might be a little bit too old for the role.
Well, it depends on if we're doing them as a foil for Bobby, because... I picked Armie Hammer, and he's around the same age.
But he's also kind of just a young... It's nothing to do with being a foil. It's to do with the fact that the character is sort of supposed to be... He's the rebellious teen, essentially. So I'm not saying he's not a teenager, but that's the type of chaotic character he is. He's immature. He's impulsive. And I'm not saying...
I was going to say there are a lot of older people who are fucking young and immature and impulsive.
But like I say, that's kind of the only real issue I have with the role. I still prefer Dacre Montgomery in that role, but I can see it.
Oh yeah, so I see him... I see him playing the part of a high school bully, jock, perfectly, and that kind of...
But not like a...
No.
I'm going to go start a fire kind of guy.
Cillian Murphy would do that job way better. Just as a Weasley... maniacal, evil, fire-starting scumbag.
All right, well, let's just do this one because it's easy, because we both agree and we don't need to talk about it too much. But Juggernaut. CGI.
Exact same from Deadpool.
Ryan Reynolds voiceover.
Sure.
Good. All right, easily done. Now, the last one is not. This is probably out of Mystique. Magneto, Pyro, Juggernaut, Toad is also an original Brotherhood, so he's not someone we shoehorned in there. He's a linchpin to this discussion. So for me, I've gone with Jamie Bell. Billy Elliot,
and the Thing are fantastic.
So my reasons for this are that he's kind of a little bit of a toad. He does look a little bit toady.
Sorry, Jamie.
Sorry, Jamie, but you do look a little bit like a toad. But hey, you know what? You know what happens when a princess kisses a toad?
Same thing as lightning.
They die.
They croak.
Okay, but no, yeah. So he can act toady.
He's a phenomenal actor.
He's also in that film with Eddie Christensen, where he kind of
Jumper.
Jumper.
Yeah.
And also, he's a professional dancer and does ballet. So he could definitely, if necessary, play the role of Toad in all of the action sequences as well.
Like Ray Park did.
Yeah, except Ray Park was a martial arts expert. So there's a little bit of a gulf there. But the thing is, as we know,
one can woo your heart, the other one can kick your heart.
But the thing about dancers is they can usually pull off the choreography that makes them look like they're performing martial arts.
Yeah. Well, what's it called? Tom Holland's perfect example of that. Who played Billy Elliot.
In what?
On the stage.
Oh, okay.
So they both played Billy Elliot.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, pretty basic. I think the Toad would have a very little role in this bit part. So, we're not looking for someone to eat up screen time or anything.
So, who was your Iceman again?
Taron Egerton.
He's my Toad.
Oh, okay.
Again, I like the guy as an actor.
He's a little bit toady as well.
And he can play an asshole. And like most
when I say toady, by the way, I'm not saying they look like toads.
Yeah.
I'm saying like I can see them being a little bit slippery and a little bit sly.
And he's obviously from his Kingsman days and all his other stuff like Robin Hood. He's good in action sequences. Fairly decent actor. So if we wanted to give Toad more of a role than he got with Ray Park, which was unfortunate because that had nothing to do with the character not having anything to do with it. It was unfortunate that Ray Park was, as you said, a martial arts expert. Why don't you people want to die?
No. Why don't you people?
Why don't you people? Yeah.
Why don't you people ever die?
He's not much of an actor, to the point where his voice was even dubbed over as Darth Maul.
I think that line is overdubbed when it says, "Why don't you people ever die?"
I think it's idiot.
The only time on screen that he actually speaks is when Sabretooth comes back with no prize, and he's fixing. Yeah, he's spray painting the weapon, and he turns and he just says, "Weren't you supposed to bring someone back with you?"
Yeah,
and that's obviously
that's not Ray Park's fault. It's a stunt coordinator.
Yeah.
But yeah, Taron Egerton, if you want
Egerton.
If you wanted to give him a bit
Isn't
more...
it Egerton?
Is it? I thought it was
E.G. Egerton. I thought it was Egerton.
Yeah,
you just said Egerton.
Egerton. Yeah. If you wanted to give him a bit more of a fleshed out role, he could definitely pull it off.
Definitely. So, honourable mention.
Sabretooth.
Yeah. Our honourable mention for the X-Men was Wolverine, so why not?
So... See, to me, the Sabretooth is Wolverine's opposite. Wolverine is short and angry. The Sabretooth's a big, hulking,
they're both
angry
members
mess.
of Weapon X.
Yeah. So
I've decided to go with someone who I think fits the role perfectly, and it's good old Ronan himself, Jason Momoa.
I like the fact that you picked Ronan Dex as his thing rather than any other role he's done.
That's his best role, hands down. Because the only other things I can think of him in are I wanted to say Iceman, Aquaman, but I've never seen Aquaman. The only time I've seen Aquaman on screen was in Batman vs Superman in that little YouTube clip, and also in Justice League. I never actually saw the movie Aquaman. I've also seen him as Khal Drogo, which is just kind of like a bit part. He's not really an important. Well, he's an important character, but he doesn't.
Conan the Barbarian.
See, I haven't seen that either. To me, his best role is Ronan Dex all day.
I 100% agree with you there. I like the role, or I like the pick even.
I love the role.
Yeah, he can act. He's very good in Aquaman.
This isn't roll call. This is casting call.
Yeah. He's very good in Aquaman, and Aquaman is one of the better DCEU films. It's not saying much.
And again, that's not a reason to pick him. That'd be like
what, him being good in the actor?
No. That'd be like saying I'm picking Al Pacino for this role because The Godfather is a great movie.
Yeah. But all right, so it's definitely got the physique for it.
He's perfect.
See, I think my guy's perfect because
gimme.
So again, I wanna add, if I'm having Tom Hardy as Wolverine, which I want, and I'm gonna flesh out the role, and I want to flesh out Sabretooth. No offense to Jason Momoa, his acting chops, I would say, are limited, and he's very good at comedic timing, so he could pull that off for Sabretooth. But another guy who's good at comedic timing, and the thing that made me think of him being Sabretooth, David Harbour. And his role when he plays in that horrible Hellboy.
Bit old, isn't he? Bit fat, isn't he?
Well, look at him in Hellboy.
And I guess you could. I'm body shaming.
Yeah.
I guess you could get him to work out.
Beef him up, but he's a very good actor, and he was in great shape as Hellboy.
And besides, I'm pretty sure that this iteration of Sabretooth will be like in a bodysuit.
Like Hellboy was.
Yeah, we're going more with like the Sabretooth that we know from the comics.
With the big flowing mane.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we're going more comic style, yes, David Harbour would be mine.
I think that works because the same way I think Jason Momoa works too, because the character of Sabretooth is going to be pretty much a henchman in these films, kind of like he is in the original X-Men movie.
But there's
not going to be a huge part.
That's the phenomenal thing though about the MCU though. All these side characters.
Oh yeah, you can make standalone movies, but if we're starting out with the Cyclops and Jean film, or even just a standalone X-Men film, I do think that Toad, Pyro, Juggernaut, for the most part, they're going to be one-dimensional characters. Like I said, I want Mystique and Magneto to be the main focus of the villains, with Mystique being a little bit less important as Magneto, and just then like the remainder of the team.
Yeah, and I think if we are picking people to be, as you say in the first one, side characters, we do have to think down the road, can they hold their own film? Because Marvel's always thinking like that. Kevin Feige's like 12 million films ahead.
As we know, with the Incredible Hulk, they're not afraid of recasting.
I think that was more out of that was not more out of choice, but more out of necessity, because Edward Norton was a dick.
Yeah, but isn't that what everybody's been claiming about Brie Larson as well with Captain Marvel? They haven't recast her.
No,
so, I'm just saying Marvel.
Yeah,
that's Brie Larson, Marvel are no strangers to recasting
with Brie
roles.
Larson, what I've heard is she's a dick to her other co-workers. It's her co-workers that don't like her. As Captain Marvel, I thought she was good. I didn't particularly like the film, and I thought it was a little boring.
It's one of the most boring.
But when she shows up in Endgame, especially at the end, I thought what she did with the limited time that she had, she did really well.
Anyway, we're irrelevant.
But, so
I was just trying to point out that I don't think Marvel are going to worry about recasting a role if they absolutely.
And that's
the
great thing. If they're not bothered about recasting a role, they're not bothered about putting Fassbender as Magneto. Yeah.
But that was our decision. If we were the producers, we wanted to distance ourselves
as far
from the original franchise. Yeah.
So there you have it. So do you want to give us a quick rundown, and we'll see if we got any common ground.
A pun down,
yeah. So Brotherhood, we got for the Brotherhood, we got Magneto is Daniel Craig or
Nikolai Coster-Waldau. Mystique is either
Maria Avgeropoulos
or Gemma Arterton. Pyro.
And both of Gemma's obviously had way more stuff in film, but she's not a massive actress.
The thing about Gemma Arterton, I like the way she talks. She's such a I'm surprised she's not more of a voice actor.
Yeah, because
I love her voice. She's got such a great sounding voice, and I think Mystique, even though she can take on other people's appearances, she's not just manipulative and cunning like that. She's also She's really good with words. Yeah. She's like Saruman from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, the only thing I can't see with Gemma was I've never seen her play a bad guy. She's always like the good guy.
Always, and that's why I say it's kind of a risk. Then Pyro, we've got
Cillian Murphy,
Dacre Montgomery. One-dimensional characters who might fit the role.
I still think Cillian Murphy's better.
Juggernaut, we agreed. Yeah, CGI and Ryan Reynolds.
Deadpool 2.
Well, the lovely thing about that as well is if our theory is that the only X-Men actor who will transfer over to the MCU is Ryan Reynolds
as Deadpool,
and the way he'll do it is in his next movie. It'll be the intro where he's like something's happening, like maybe he's like the people he's fighting and the stuntmen are crap, and he's just like hold on,
cardboard cut out.
He sees a stage hand and he starts to realize he's like something's going wrong here. He's like I've had enough of this, and he decides to change studios, so he breaks the fourth wall literally by opening up the door,
walks out of the studio,
Fox Studios,
down the street, and walks in at Disney,
and walks into the Marvel Studios.
That.
And so the only other character that's going to come over is the only other characters that will come over are any characters that are featured in a Deadpool film. So I wouldn't mind seeing if we had the Juggernaut as he is in Deadpool 2 in this. Also, I wouldn't mind seeing
Colossus.
The guy who plays Colossus, the young girl who plays
I figured
Negasonic.
So this is what's going to happen. He's going to walk out of Fox, get in the cab with Dopinder, and he's going to take Dopinder down to Disney, and they're both going to walk onto the stage. But yeah, I also think it'd be really funny if we had Josh Brolin playing Cable at some point. In fact, all of them, they get out and Dopinder's got a minibus.
Yeah.
But I could see, it depends how Disney go with the Deadpool franchise. They might be completely standalone, R-rated, but your CGI Juggernaut was done so well.
So this is an honourable mention right here,
especially compared to the Vinnie Jones disaster. You bring in your CGI Colossus as well. So definitely CGI Juggernaut, and then Sabretooth, depending on which way you want to take the character. If you want to take it really physical,
Toad, Jamie Bell.
Oh yeah, sorry. So Toad, Jamie Bell, or Taron Egerton, either one of them two could do a good job.
And then Sabretooth, I'm Jason Momoa all the way.
Again, it depends how you want to take the character. If you want to take it really physical, I'd say Jason Momoa is way better. But if you want to give him if you want to make it more like how David Harbour was in. Yeah, I said Michael Harbour. I meant David Harbour. Well, that was a big fuck up. David Harbour, his name is.
You'll just do a Gina Carano overdub thing.
How Michael Harbour is in Hellboy. If that's how you would take your Sabretooth. Because remember, in the first X-Men, Sabretooth was a wrestler. And he basically did fuck all. He didn't do any wrestling, any action moves. He just walked slowly and grunted. Like, I don't want any of my X-Men to be like that. Like, I didn't want any of the...
That was a wrestler who played him?
Yeah, a wrestler played him. That's about it then. I think we got our first X-Men movie cast.
Well, so there was an honourable mention there. And I wanted to do an honourable mention. And I've forgotten who it was.
Well, we're bringing all of Deadpool with us. They're all getting in the minibus.
The honourable mention is that if this does, and this is all we're going to brush on it because we're not getting into an argument, if they do bring her into it as an X-Man or a Brotherhood member, obviously Scarlet Witch, now we don't know what's happening in WandaVision, we've got to let that series play out, but obviously Scarlet Witch will be played by Elizabeth Olsen.
And that's a key one. That's going to be one to see how they twine that together.
Yeah.
Like
we're going to be getting into theory crafting on that one. Let's just see how WandaVision plays out before we make any more.
So at the moment we're saying our X-Men movie, it's in the MCU, but Wanda Maximoff at the moment is not even on the horizon that she's going to join anything. She's not even involved in any of this.
No, that's not at all what I said. I said we're going to wait and see how WandaVision plays out before we make any assumptions.
Yeah, because
who knows? WandaVision might end up in the final scene like Magneto comes in and says, "You are my daughter," and fly away with her or something. I don't know. I'm just saying we're going to wait and see how WandaVision plays out, because this is the first soiree into Phase 4, so we don't know. We can't make anything we say is just pure conjecture. All I'm saying is if she is eventually in there's an actor already playing her, and it's Elizabeth Olsen.
So that's the end of the show. If you liked what you saw, please give us a big thumbs up, share us, subscribe to the channel, leave us comments, and until next time, see you later.
Bye-bye.
Cue the music.